could definitely still probably pass for like a little kid. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Rachel here. I'm a third-year biomedical science student in college, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some funny things that have happened to me in the past, growing up looking very young and being super short and having a baby face. So this video won't be ultra inspirational or super educational or anything like that. It's just going to be a fun little video, a story time. Of me just sharing things that have happened to me in the past because of how young I've looked and also how short I am. And it's just going to be nice to see like how I've gone from in the moment being sort of like annoyed when it's happened, and then just coming full circle to now, and just like looking back and seeing how I've come to like accept and even embrace my youngness and my baby face. So let's get right into it. So the first instance is all the times, it's like a combination of all the times that I've gone to a restaurant.
Hi, welcome to
if I needed
Chili's.
a kid's menu. So this happened to me basically every time I went to a restaurant from middle school and high school. I think it happened the summer before I went to college too. And honestly, I think if I dressed, like I put effort into it, like wearing child's clothing or like doing makeup that was very young, or like pigtails. Also, like I'm very short, I'm like 4'11", so I have the stature of a child. I could definitely still probably pass for like a little kid if I walked in there with my glasses and got a kid's menu. But at this point, like, it's okay. Also, kids menus, like if you're an adult, you can't get a kids menu, and like the portions are cute and you get little crayons and stuff. I think now it's sort of fun to just go in there and like joke with people and see their reactions, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, you're 21. The second story is buying a lottery ticket. So when I turned 18, I went to the store with my dad to go buy a lottery ticket, and we were just standing in line, and I had my ticket in my hand, and there was a man in front of us, and I didn't know until like after, but he was one of the police officers at our school, and he was just sort of waiting. Like I went up to the counter, bought the ticket, and after he went up to us and he was like, oh wait, I was so confused. He was about to be like, well, I'm off duty right now, but like I see a child like gambling or under 18 buying a lottery ticket. But then I told him, oh yeah, it's my birthday today, and I showed him my ID, and I was like, oh, I'm actually from that high school, and we just sort of had a little laugh about that. That was definitely a funny occurrence that I had from looking young, and I definitely know that like every time I buy a lottery ticket now, I'll be ID'd for sure. Third instance that happened to me happened when I was shadowing in high school, and shadowing was basically me going and finding a doctor and following them around for the day to see what a typical day in the life of a doctor looked like. When I went, I would wear business attire, business casual, makeup, and have nice shoes. This is probably the youngest anyone has ever taken me for. One of the nurses, she asked if I was in kindergarten, and at the time that I was shadowing, I was probably 10th grade, and so I was like, I honestly, I didn't know what to say. I just stood there and I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm actually in high school. So that was an awkward moment there. Another instance was one of the nurses, she asked me, she was like, oh, you look so young. Are you even allowed to wear makeup yet? And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm actually in high school. So the fourth story is just a combination of all the times I've gone shopping and gotten very strange looks, and this would happen all the time when I went shopping with my parents, especially in high school, because when I was with my parents, they would be like, oh look, it's a little kid following their parents around. One thing would be clothing stores. If I went in alone, like to Aeropostale or Hollister or any clothing store centered around adolescents, teens, young adults, that sort of age range, I would get weird looks because I think they were thinking I was either a very young middle school or an elementary student trying to go into like an older kid's store and try to like dress up their age. That was awkward, walking around the clothes racks, and they'd be like, what is this child doing? Another thing that's happened is if I go into stores like general retail stores or gift shops to buy gifts for my parents or relatives or friends, they'll ask me, oh, do you have like a budget? Like for most kids, if they don't have their own credit card or money, they'll have their parents give them money and their allowances. So other things that have happened are stories that are centering around my car. When I go to a drive-thru for fast food, I'll order, and then when I pull up to the window, the people there will be like, they'll be so confused. They'll probably think like, oh my gosh, it's a runaway child who's trying to get me or something. So they'll just be so shocked. They're like, oh my gosh, this person is so young. And another thing is, actually this past week when I was coming home from the hospital, I had to get gas. When I was standing there, the guy who drove past me, and he just stared out his window, and he looked so confused. Like, wow. Look at this child. He was probably thinking I was getting gas for my parents while they were in the store. Countless times when I've gone grocery shopping, I'll get into my car and people who are watching me, they will just look just astonished. They'll be like, wow, she's so young. It looks like a child was driving. The sixth story I want to share is also a combination. Most of these are going to be combinations because they've happened to me so many times. They're not specific instances, but just like multiple repeat instances. And so this is just people saying and telling me comments like, oh my gosh, you look so short. People just come up to me like with no reason. I don't even know them, and they'll just be like, you know what, you're so short. Or you look young. You look young is a compliment because honestly at like 50 I'm gonna be thinking this, but the so short one, it's like it's not completely an insult, but it's not completely a compliment either. Like they'll just come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, you're so short, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, wow, yes, thank you. Like, what do I say to that? Most of the times I'll just say like, oh yeah, I know, because like honestly the statement in itself, it's like, wow, thank you, what an enriching statement that will greatly add to my knowledge and enrich my life. Like, no, it's just like, yes, okay, cool, thank you, stating the obvious. If they ask me like, oh wow, you're so short and you look so young, like, how old are you? And I'll be like, oh, I'm in high school, or now I'll be 21. But it hasn't happened to me as much now. They'll be like, oh, okay. It's okay. I've seen so many people, and like I have so many short and young looking friends. Like, I don't want you to know they're trying to cover up for that, but it's just so funny to me now. It was last year. I went to the dentist for an annual cleanup, and I had to give them my insurance card. So when I gave it to the nurse, she was like, oh, even though you don't look like you're 19, your insurance still doesn't cover you. And I turned to my brother and we just like laughed because it seemed like such an unnecessary statement just to add the 19. If she would just say, oh, your insurance doesn't cover you, that would have sufficed. And that wraps it up for all the stories today. Most of these instances happened to me in high school or middle school, and when I was younger. It's been super nice going to a college campus because most of the students tend to assume that if you're on a college campus, you go to college, and at most you probably skip like maybe a couple grades. They tend not to remark on the obvious. It's only happened to me a couple instances where people have commented on like how my height or how short I am or something silly like that. Looking back, I have all of these funny stories to just reflect on and share with other people. So I hope you guys thought this was funny and entertaining, and you can also, if you're going through the same thing yourself, you also know, you know what, looking back, it's really funny. You have so many funny instances and stories. If you enjoyed this video and are looking forward to any other videos coming up, make sure to like and subscribe down below. It really helps this channel out. And I haven't had a chance to go do a video reaction where I've gone to buy alcohol since I just turned 21, so if you guys are interested in seeing that, make sure to comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!